Hello, thank you for listening to the Moist Boys Reviews. This is Josh. I just wanted to take a moment to tell you about the Anchor.fm app. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for listening to the Moist Boys Reviews. My name is Josh. Today I'm talking about The Gentleman, the newest Guy Ritchie film, co-written by Guy Ritchie, who wrote the screenplay, came up with the story. This is the newest Guy Ritchie film. It came out last year overseas, but it's just now opening in the United States, so I gotta take a look at it. So the film is about Matthew McConaughey's Mickey Pearson, who is in the marijuana growing and selling business, but now he wants to retire, and his plan is to sell the company to Jeremy Strong, who plays a foppish billionaire. It's kind of unclear his exact deal, but it does some things that maybe aren't great. Michelle Dockery plays Matthew McConaughey's wife, who's kind of a more encouraging figure in the whole drug dealing business. Charlie Hunnam plays Ray, who's Matthew McConaughey's consigliere, and Hugh Grant plays a reporter named Fletcher. And the most of this film centers around Hugh Grant's character, retelling the backstory of everything to Charlie Hunnam, and that's how most of the film is kind of set up. And you also have Henry Golding, who plays a gangster who's kind of up and coming and wants to make a name for himself. Eddie Marsan plays Hugh Grant's editor, who wants to do run a hit piece on Matthew McConaughey, and so the film is based around Hugh Grant's character wanting to get money from Matthew McConaughey, and so he's telling the story to Charlie Hunnam. Colin Farrell plays a local boxing coach who gets dragged into the story at one point. So this is definitely more of a throwback to Guy Ritchie's older films, or at least either a pastiche or a homage to that. I will have to admit, I have not watched either Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels or Snatch in a while. But from watching this, I just got the feeling that this film was kind of just a hollow recreation rather than a new story that does anything interesting. The screenplay is not nearly as clever as it wants to be, nor as funny. Everything's more just unpleasant rather than the characters being unpleasant. You just get the feeling that the movie itself is unpleasant, and maybe Guy Ritchie himself also is unpleasant. Um, there were very few actual funny moments in my estimation. To be fair, there were the audience that I saw it in probably laughed 3 or 4 times throughout the movie, even though I think I got the feeling that the movie wanted to be much funnier than that. And I did find Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch to be really funny films, but unfortunately this film does not have any of the charisma or heart that those two films did. This was a much more cynical film, and that kind of plays against the strengths of a story like this, where you have a lot of intersecting stories. Jeremy Strong's character, there's a lot going on here that I did not find funny. Now, to be fair, part of this might be due to the fact that there was one group of people in the theater that I watched it with that laughed at literally everything and kind of did call and response call outs to the screen. There was even after being asked to not do that, they still tried to do that. So maybe that might be tainting my estimation of this film a little bit and my experience, but I still feel like they would have come up short on that regard. So I cannot say that I thought this was a very good film. I think the one exception would be Colin Farrell's performance is actually pretty funny, and he has a couple of good moments, but there's also some just not funny stuff in there as well. But if you've seen it and you thought it was funny, more power to you. It just wasn't my thing at the time I watched it. But judging based on the reviews that I've seen, I guess my opinion on it is in the minority, so take that, do with that what you will. But I'm going to have to give this movie 5.5 stars. It's technically competent. It's directed well. I think everything, the actors do what they need to with the script that they got. But just in my estimation, the script is not as clever as it thinks it is, and nor as funny as it needs to be. Thank you for listening to the Moist Boys Reviews. Please check out the Moist Boys Podcast for more great content. You find us at Moist Boys Podcast on Instagram, at Moist Boys Pod on Twitter. You can contact us, moistboyspodcast@gmail.com. This weekend's going to be a little bit slow with new films. It's January, so there's going to be drips and drabs. But stick around for more reviews, and we will be back next time.